my channel. If you're new here, my name is Emily, and today we're going to be talking about my TBR for the OWLs. So this will be my second time participating in the OWLs. Last year, I didn't read all 12 books, and I don't really remember at all how I did on the Newts. I don't think I completed all those books either. But I am in self-isolation right now, so hopefully, since I will be in self-isolation for the first little part of April at least, if not longer, depending on what the government is saying we should do, I think I should be able to get some more reading done. So hopefully I can get through all 12 books in the OWLs. Okay, so let's just jump right on into it. The first class is Ancient Ruins, and the prompt for this one was the heart-shaped ruin and to read a book with a heart on the cover or in the title. I will be reading the short story collection 3 Sides of a Heart, which is stories about love triangles. I'm not really a fan of love triangles, but I am a fan of short story compilations, and I do like a lot of the authors who have written stories for this collection, so I'm excited to see what I think about it just because it's like my favorite authors writing about something that's like not really my favorite. Maybe they'll change my mind. Next up is Arithmancy, and the prompt was magical qualities of number 2, so balance and opposites. I'm not really sure, I don't really get the prompt for this one, but it's to read something outside of your favorite genre, and for this one I chose the genre classics. This is kind of tricky because for my self-isolation period, I do not have access to all of my books, so I had my mom picking out the books for me. So I just was like, okay, pick something from my classics shelf. That should work because usually I read a lot of young adult, and classics aren't really like young adult. So I'm going to be reading Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. This one has been on my list of books to read for a while. And it is on the list of books that you should read before going to law school, and since I will be applying for law school in the fall, I figure I should read this one. I know this is like a high school classic, and so many people studied it in high school, but I never read it in high school, so I'm excited to read it and hopefully love it. Next is Astronomy, and the prompt was just to read the majority of the book when it's dark outside, so I just had my dad pick a random book off my bookshelf, and he chose my arc of Fourth Dimensions by Eric Walters, which has been out since February 6th, 2018. It's been over 2 years since this was released, and I still haven't read the arc, but I will be reading it now. I honestly have no idea what this book is about. It seems to be some sort of power outages and then a camping trip. Ooh, it seems to be some sort of like apocalypse type story. Oh yeah, if you look at the front cover, it's like so apocalypsy. Alright, well, I'm excited to be reading it. Next up was Care of Magical Creatures. The prompt was Hippogriff, read a book with a creature with a beak on the cover. My family and I couldn't think of any creatures with beaks that aren't like birds. So I ended up picking Wink Poppy Midnight. This is by April Genevieve Chulke, and I've read stuff by her before and really liked it. This was on my TBR for something. It actually might have been the Newts that this was on my TBR for, but I never read it. So I'm going to be reading it, and I'm really hoping that I love it because I do really like her writing, and I think it's a little bit of a love triangle because it is 2 girls, 1 boy, 1 summer, but it's also like one person's a hero, one's a villain, one bad thing, what really happened, someone knows and someone's lying, so it's like a mystery, but I feel like it's gonna be a love triangle, and I'm just excited. Okay, so next up is Charmed, and the prompt is Lumos Maxima, and it was to read a book with a white cover. So my mom chose Whisper by Lynette Noni. This is an advanced reader's copy. The cover isn't like super white, but the spine is fully white, back is fully white, and there's like a fair amount of white on the front cover. And this is about someone, and she doesn't talk at all, and so she, like, somebody put that, like, the government is trying to get her to talk, but she won't, so now she's put in the care of someone else. It kind of, to me, has vibes similar to Shatter Me, just from reading the back. Like, it sounds very similar. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what I think. I didn't love the first Shatter Me book, but I did really enjoy the other two in the trilogy, which I guess is now whatever you call a series with 6 books. So I guess we'll see how similar it actually is to Shatter Me, and maybe it takes like what I liked from Shatter Me and then kind of like gets rid of the parts that I didn't like. Who knows? Up next we have Defense Against the Dark Arts, Grindylows. So that prompt was to read a book set at the sea or the coast. So I'm going to be reading My Life Without Me by Jacqueline Aurora. And this is a book, it was actually published by a publishing company like in my hometown. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this just because I think it's really cool to read local authors, and I actually didn't realize, but she did annotate this, and it was a graduation gift for me when I graduated from high school, and the author wished me good luck at university, so thank you, Jacqueline. And yeah, it's about a girl who she can't remember any of her, like she's losing all her memories, but then an exchange student, like whenever she's with the exchange student, she can remember them, which kind of reminds me of the one memory of Flora Banks, which was when she could remember that one thing. It's a lot of these books are very similar to other books, but they might actually be completely different. I guess we'll see. Alright, Divination was the third eye, so I had to assign a random number to books on my TBR and then use a random number generator to figure out which it was. So I actually just bought a bunch of books from Book Outlet, and like I bought them back when I was still in France, so they were here when I got home. So I had 18 and I just gave them each a number between 1 and 18 and then used my random number generator. And the book it landed on was Kissing Max Holden by Katie Upperman. This is a Swoon Reads book, and I really like Swoon Reads romances because they're always just like lighthearted, fun romances, and I'm sure this will be no different. Herbology is Mimbulus Mimbletonia, and it was to read a book that starts with the letter M, so I will be reading Midnight at the Electric by Jodi Lynn Anderson. This was another one of the books that I just got from Book Outlet. I know it was on my TBR and it has been for a while, but I can't remember what exactly it's about, and I don't think I want to. I think I just kind of want to go into it blind because I remember like wanting to read it so badly and being like, I need to get this book. So I feel like I'll just love it. And also, just looking at it under the dust jacket, what a pretty color it is. It's like this really pretty turquoisey, aqua-y blue. I'm a fan. Next up we have History of Magic, and the subject we are doing our revisions for is witch hunts. So I had to read a book about witches or wizards, and I'll be reading Wicked by Gregory Maguire. I'm a huge fan of musical theater. I did theater for a while in high school, so obviously this is kind of like a super big musical. It's Wicked, but I've never actually read the book. So I'm excited to get a chance to read the book, and it's really pretty. I love that it like has the like hole here so that it's like the witch, but then you open up, it's the full portrait. I don't know, I really like fun covers like that. And I'm excited to see how I like this book. I do also have the sequel to it if I enjoy it and want to continue. So I guess we'll see. Next up is Muggle Studies, and I need to read a book in the perspective of a Muggle, so a contemporary, and I will be reading Stand Up Guy by Natasha Evie. Natasha is somebody that I work with and I love her to bits. She is just so kind and so talented. The first book in this series was so good and I'm so excited to continue. So thank you, Natasha, for giving me this book, and I can't wait to dive in. For potions, we are studying the shrinking solution, and to revise, we need to read a book under 150 pages. So I will be reading On Not Losing My Father's Ashes in the Flood, poems by Richard Harrison. I actually met Richard Harrison last year at my university, and I got this book, and so it is signed, which is super duper cool. And I'm really excited to read this. I am a big fan of poetry, and I haven't read some poetry. I don't know that I've read any poetry collections yet this year. I did read The Poet X, which is a novel in verse, but I don't think I've read any poetry collections, so this will be the first one of 2020. And lastly, we have Transfiguration. We'll be looking at Animaguses, and that is to read a book with shapeshifters. So I chose Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. I've had this book for a really long time and have not read it. I really did enjoy the Raven Boys, the Raven Cycle, I guess the series is called. So yeah, I'm looking forward to just hopping in. I don't read a lot of books about werewolves, so I don't know how I feel about this, but I guess we'll see. So that is my TBR for The Owls. I am super duper excited. I'm not actually picking a wizarding career yet. My plan is to just read as many books from The Owls as I can, and then based off how many I read, I can go through the careers and see which ones I qualify for. So that is it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos from me, and leave a comment letting me know if you're participating in the Owls, what your TBR is, and if you've read any of the books on my TBR. Thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome day.